fit in Pittsburgh at the age of 40, and he could be a extremely long tenured manager here in Pittsburgh. I mean, Clint Hurdle's done great things for this Pirates organization. He's brought us our winningest decade since the 70s, and I'm not going to underscore the accomplishments that Clint Hurdle has done, especially between the years of 2013 and 2015, when he brought relevance back to the Pittsburgh baseball scene, where he brought this team to the promised land of making the playoffs and making this a good baseball team and bringing fans back to PNC Park for the first time since the building had been erected. I'm not going to underscore the accomplishments that he's done, but I am going to sit here and say that we can't continue to just thank him for his past accomplishments. He has to prove his future accomplishments, and so far in 2019, he has not proved that. And I believe, let's say there's another cold stretch coming up. Let's say we go down to Houston and we get swept. Does Hurdle get fired at that point? And what's the point? What's the breaking point for Neil Huntington? What's the breaking point for Frank Coonelly for when we can move on from Clint Hurdle? Because he's not going to stick around forever. It's time to take that look towards the future. And with taking that look towards the future, it also means moving on from expiring contracts and salvaging value. Because again, while this team, many could argue, still have an opportunity to go out there and make the playoffs, and I still certainly hope they do, and we'll be cheering for them to go out there and do it. But if you're looking at it from a realistic perspective, we are in last place in the NL Central. We are the third worst team in the National League. Those are objective, factual statements. Facts don't care about feelings. That hurts my feelings. It does. But the facts are the facts, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, hey, everything's okay, because it's not. It isn't. And they need to move on from expiring contracts. They need to move on from Clint Hurdle. Trade a big piece, and getting Lyles back and healthy and upping that trade value before the July 31st deadline would be huge. Frankie needs Francisco Liriano, trade him. If we can get Cervelli back, get his value up as well before the deadline. Move on from him. Move on from Melky Cabrera. Move on from Corey Dickerson. There are certain guys that the Pirates can move on from. Move on from Jung Ho Gong as well. Hopefully we can get his trade value up as well. You move on from these guys, you make the proper moves, and you keep the nucleus of this core together, because the Pirates do have a strong core of young guys that are ready to take that next leap. Is that next leap going to happen this season? I don't think so. Do I want it to happen this season? Certainly I do, but just looking at it from a realistic perspective, and it's hard for me to do this because everybody listening right now knows how much I love this Pittsburgh Pirates team, knows how much I believe in them, but you can't ignore the writing on the wall, so to speak. And the writing on the wall shows that, hey, we can do this in 2020. Like, 2019 doesn't have to be a lost season. It's most likely going to be a lost season in terms of, we're not going to accomplish our ultimate goal of bringing that World Series championship back to Pittsburgh for the first time since 1979. I'm going to cheer for it. I'm going to root for it. I'm going to hope for it. But is it likely going to happen? Probably not. And that's a tough reality that we face. But it's a reality that we've dug ourselves into. But 2020 can be a different year. It really can. You're going to have guys coming back. Jamison Tynan will be back. Keone Kela, Edgar Santana, Chad Kuhl. All these pieces are going to be coming back, and the nucleus of this team is going to still be here. Josh Bell, Kevin Newman, Cole Tucker. Key Brian Hayes will be ready by that point. Colin Moran, Elias Diaz, Jacob Stallings, Brian Reynolds, Jason Martin, Starling Marte, Gregory Polanco. The list goes on. And don't even get me started with the bullpen with Nightmare, Crick, Rich Rod, Kella, Santana, Chad Kuhl's in there, Mitch Keller, JT Brubaker will be back off his injury. There are so many pieces to this team. And it's a shame that we have underperformed so far in 2019. It really is a shame, because this team had all the pieces to do it this year, and they still do. It's going to take a miracle run to do it. But it's just an underperformance and a lack of consistency. And that's really the story with every baseball team. It's about going out there on a consistent basis and consistently having your starters give you good outings. Consistently having your offense put up 4 to 6 runs a game. Like that's what separates the top of the league from the bottom of the league. 'Cause on any given day, the Marlins, the Orioles, the Royals, they can go out there and win games. They can go out there and win baseball games, but it's about putting it together on a consistent basis, and that's been the downfall of this 2019 Pittsburgh Pirates team. There's still time to turn it around, and I want them to turn it around. But looking at it from an objective, honest perspective, it's time to move on from Clint Hurdle, and it's time to move on from Jordan Lyles, Francisco Cervelli, Francisco Liriano, Jung Ho Gon, Melky Cabrera, and Corey Dickerson. If they can do all that, be happy and pleased heading into the second half of the 19 season and heading into the 2020 season when I really believe we can break the curse in 2020. The Pittsburgh Pirates played their fourth and final game of the season against the Detroit Tigers on Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, the Pittsburgh Pirates and Detroit Tigers played the second of their short two-game series at PNC Park. After suffering a 5-4 mistake-filled loss on Tuesday night, the Pirates were looking to bounce back in Game 2. The Pirates fell into a big hole on Wednesday night, but would still find a way to get a much-needed victory. Despite a 7-1 third-inning deficit, the Pirates buckled down and fought their way back to pick up an 8-7 victory. With the win, that made the team 33-40 on the season. With the win last night, they're now 34-40. Both teams went with starting pitchers, returning from the injured list on Wednesday night. Trevor Williams took the ball for the Pirates, while the Tigers handed the ball to veteran Jordan Zimmermann. Neither pitcher would get the start they were looking for. In his first inning pitched in a month, Williams was victimized by some poor defense and luck in the top of the first. Jacoby Jones ripped the second pitch of the game to left field. On the play, Jones went for the second base, but a great play by Corey Dickerson led to a throw that easily beat Jones to the bag. However, second baseman Adam Frazier made an abysmal play as he totally whiffed on the tag, giving Jones a double. This led to a Kristen Stewart single, a 1-0 Tigers lead. This was the second time in as many nights that a defense gaffe by Frazier led to Detroit runs. In Tuesday night's loss, he screwed up a routine 4-6-3 double play that would have ended the 8th inning, but instead resulted in a fielder's choice on which the Tigers scored the winning run. With Frazier struggling offensively and defensively, he should no longer be the starting second baseman for the Pirates. Following Stewart's single, Nicholas Castellanos snuck a softly hit ground ball through under the glove of Josh Bell for a hit. Then with 2 outs, Harold Castro blooped a weakly hit single to left to make it 2-0 Tigers. After Williams struck out the side, in order in the top half of the second inning, the Pirate offense had an opportunity to strike in the bottom half of the inning. Bell was hit by a pitch to start the inning, and Comran singled with 1 out. Elias Diaz singled to load the bases with just 1 out. Frazier's woes would then continue as he had a miserable at-bat that ended in a 3-pitch strikeout. At this point, luckily the Pirates would not score as Frazier's strikeout came with Williams on deck. Williams, however, would pick up Frazier with a run-scoring single. Kevin Newman then struck out to end the inning with the Bucks trailing 2-1. More bad luck was waiting for Williams in the third inning. Stewart reached on an infield hit to start the inning. Castellanos doubled on a ball that Moran should have at least kept in the infield at third base. Williams then started to miss his spots as Nico Goodrum laced a double into the right field corner to make it 4-1 Tigers. Brandon Dixon then smoked a 2-run homer to make it 6-1 Detroit. The first career home run by Castor then made it 7-1 Tigers. The Pirates would cut into the Tiger lead in the bottom of the third inning. A 2-out double by Dickerson plated a pair to cut the Detroit lead to 7-3. Williams lasted 5 innings in his return from the IL. While he was victimized by some poor defense and luck, he also missed his spots too often. He would allow 7 runs, 6 earned on 9 hits, 2 home runs allowed, and 7 strikeouts. He settled in after his poor third inning by retiring the final 9 batters he faced. Zimmermann did not struggle as much as Williams, but his return from the IL did not go well either. In 4 innings pitched, Zimmermann allowed 3 runs and 5 hits, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Nick Ramirez replaced Zimmermann in the 5th inning and was promptly greeted by a Brian Reynolds single and a 2-run home run by Starling Marte. The 11th home run of the season from Marte cut the Detroit lead to 7-5. After Richard Rodriguez pitched a scoreless 6th inning, the Pirates would score off of Ramirez some more with 2 men on in the inning. Reynolds continued his terrific rookie season by launching a 3-run home run to deep left field. His 6th blast of the season gave the Pirates their first lead of the night at 8-7. With the help of an outfield assist from Marte, lefty Francisco Liriano continued his excellent season in the 7th inning. Liriano posted a 0 to send the game into the 7th inning stretch, with the Pirates leading 8-7. Liriano remained in the game for the Pirates in the 8th inning with Kyle Crick unavailable. leaving Liriano in after he only needed 12 pitches to retire the side in the 7th inning was 100% the correct move by Clint Hurdle. And Liriano would reward him for his confidence. Filthy Frankie retired the Tigers in order in the top half of the 8th inning to keep the score at 8-7 Pirates. In the 9th inning, it was Felipe Vasquez's time. While it does not appear the Pirates are going anywhere this season, Wednesday night's victory was still a great win for the team. It marked the first time since July 2008 the Pirates overcame a 6-run deficit to win a game. Hopefully this will start to springboard the team into a good weekend series as they look for their first winning homestand since May 3rd to the 8th. After a day off on Thursday, the Pirates returned to action last night with Joe Musgrove. The Pirates kicking off a 3-game weekend series against the San Diego Padres. Lefty Eric Lauer took the ball for Andy Green and the Padres, and the Pirates picked up their first win of the Padres series today. Chris Archer will face rookie phenom Chris Paddock. Game 2 of the series, the Pirates look to win the series. And then Sunday, two lefties on a Sunday afternoon action in Pittsburgh. Joey Lucchesi for the Padres and the hot Steven Brault for the Pirates. Then the rest of the week shaping up, we go down to Houston for 3 games. Garrett Cole on Tuesday will make his first start against the Pirates. Unfortunately, the Astros did not return to Pittsburgh, so Pirates fans will have to wait until at least 2020 or maybe even the World Series, right, for Garrett Cole to make his return to Pittsburgh. And then they go to Milwaukee for 3 games on the weekend to close out June. It's been a rough month of June, and we talked about this at length at the end of the 2018 season when we were going over the fact that the Pirates, they needed just one more win a month to make the playoffs in 2018. And this 2019 season, it's sort of shaping out to be similar to the 2018 one, right? They got hot in the beginning, but then struggled mightily in June. Can't find where the Pirates record was at this time last year through 74 games. But from what I remember, it was an abysmal June, and the Pirates have had an abysmal June as well. We had our first winning record in the month of May, going 15-14. And it looked like that, hey, if we could get our pitching together in June, because we had a 6-something ERA in May, if we could get our pitching together in June, we could get this thing figured out. We could. But the Pirates have done the exact opposite in the month of June. We can pull up the team ERA in June from just the offset. I don't know how much better. I'm sure it's better than the 6-something ERA the Pirate pitching staff posted in the month of May. But so far in the month of June, the Pirate team ERA still sits at 5.56, way too high, and that is why this team has struggled as much as they have struggled, is because of those high ERAs. And you just look at some of the guys with the highest ERAs in the month of June. Montana Rappo, 27 ERA. Nick Kingham, 16.875. Trevor Williams, a 12.6 ERA. McRae, 9.81. Mitch Keller, 9 ERA. Rookie Davis, 9 ERA. Jordan Lyles, 7 ERA. Chris Archer, 6.35 ERA. Even guys that have plus 4 ERAs. Francisco Liriano, 4.82. Joe Musgrove, 4.57. Dario Agrazal, 4.50. Jeff Hartley, 4.50. Kyle Crick, 4.32. The only guys with sub-4 ERAs, Clay Holmes sitting at 3.85. Felipe Vasquez sitting at 3.52. Michael Feliz sitting at 3.0. And the lowest ERA in the month of June is Steven Brault. And it's 16 1/3 innings. He has a 1.65 ERA. Who would have thought that? But hey, this Pirates season, it's close to being a lost season. It is. But again, they make the moves, they fire Hurdle, they traded the right guys, and we can regroup and be back in 2020. Again, the Pirates have the Padres for 2 more this weekend, head down to Houston for 3, and the Brewers next weekend to close out the month of June. This has been Bucko Booth, the Pittsburgh Pirates Baseball Podcast Network podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Benson Fector. We'll see you at the same time and same place next Saturday, right here on Bucko Booth. Have a great week, everybody, and as always, let's go Bucks.